Hello, it is I, Elle Parker. Welcome back. So I'm back. I'm in the kitchen, late night again, as usual. This is usually when the magic happens. It's just me and my fish friends in the kitchen tonight. We are going to be working on a Living Foods pizza cracker recipe that I've been wanting to make for my children. I was pretty excited to complete my first Living Foods pizza. So I have a recipe that I put together and used for this Living Foods pizza. I was able to create that. It got great reviews. So we're definitely going to be doing more of that. But this, based on my experience with the pizza, and that experience being basically dehydrating the crust a little too long so that it actually came out a little more crunchy or harder than I would have liked it to be for the pizza, I did realize that instead of wasting it, that could make a really good cracker. And I'm an empty nester. You see my two children here. You can probably see their picture. They hang out with me here. Um, they actually live in another state. So I thought, oh, that would be lovely because I can actually ship the crackers to my children where they are in the other state. So that's why I'm super excited to complete this cracker recipe so that I can get some good, healthy, nutritious food filled with mama's love out to my babies. So let's get started with the recipe. So I've already prepared, we got 2.5 cups of cherry tomatoes that have been cut in half. We got a half cup of sun-dried tomatoes. This is the buckwheat that I sprouted in the last video. I'm actually just gonna give it a nice little rinse. So this is what the sprouted buckwheat looks like. They want us to rehydrate these sun-dried tomatoes. So they said they only need to rehydrate for about 15 minutes. That's fine. I didn't kind of do that ahead of time. I'm basically just covering them, with some water, bottled water. And like I talked about before in my last video, when I'm soaking things, I tend to use filtered or bottled water. I don't use the sink water. But if I'm just rinsing something, then I will go ahead and rinse it in the sink water. So I don't have a problem with that. We're going to need some olive oil. I've actually got this extra virgin roasted garlic olive oil. So I'm going to use that. We need a clove of garlic, 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, dried basil, agave nectar. So we got the agave nectar here. And what else? Half cup of ground flax. So we got our ground flaxseed meal. I have to thank my daughter for purchasing this. She actually purchased this, so thank her for that. She helped, even not being here, she's still being helpful to mama. So shout out to my baby. Mama loves you. All right, and what else? Basil, oregano, garlic. Let me get my little dried basil, dried oregano, and our garlic. So we got everything. And we're going to get into this here. Let's just set a little timer here for 15 minutes so we can check our sun-dried tomatoes that are soaking. The number one response I get when I share something I've made in the kitchen for people is, oh, can I get that recipe? So I decided to start bringing you guys into the kitchen with me. So I'm not trying to type out a recipe and describe everything. I just don't have that kind of time. And really, I think more of us need to start getting in the kitchen for ourselves anyway. And I work in the food industry. I've worked in the food industry. My family is in the food industry. My brother owns a restaurant here locally in town, 2 of them actually. So we work professionally in the food industry. And I'm still very disturbed by the way people of all ages, our young people, some of my peers, not so much the elders, but I would say the 15 to 50, the 15 to 50 crowd, you can find them ordering off these apps for every meal if they have the finances to be able to do so. So folks is eating out for every meal. And just looking at the health condition of the nation, our community, it starts at home. And part of the reason for that is all these commercial products and things like that are just not that healthy for our bodies. So, that's nice for 2 or 3 times a week, but every single day, every single meal, that's not sustainable. I think we need to get away from that. And that's going to start with getting back into our own kitchen. So I'm going to be doing much of the same, and I'm going to be bringing you guys with me. I am working towards sustaining a living foods diet. So I'm definitely want to bring you guys with me on that journey so you can be there as I'm preparing my living foods meals. If you follow my channel, you know I practice a variety of different things to bring my health back into alignment as well. I'm still a work in progress myself as I work on my weight management, my overall health and wellness. So in order to help with that, I do some fasting frequently. If you check out a couple videos back, I just maybe last month completed a 40-day water fast. So coming back from that water fasting period, I definitely wanted to eat more living natural foods. So this is something I've been thinking about for a long time. I've definitely dabbled, in a raw food and what I'm actually choosing to call a living foods diet at this point. Um, just because it sounds a little better, I think. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a problem with raw food, but we definitely will prepare certain foods, but it's not going to be a whole lot of cooking. Tools for a living foods lifestyle, you'll be using, like I have my food processor here, which you'll see in a little bit as we get into using that. I have my dehydrators here. So we don't do a lot of cooking, but we do use different tools to help process our foods at home. So because of that, I'm not maybe always going to say that everything is going to be raw, but my intention is that everything be living and be providing nutritional value as we consume it. We're definitely going to have to blend up the buckwheat. 2, 3. Yes, we can definitely see how these have sprouted. Some of them have sprouted quite a bit in just the couple days since they've been sprouted. So that's about 2 cups there. So I'm working with this extra large Ninja food processor. I'm just gonna give it a little rinse. I'm gonna just leave this here so you can watch as I fill it. So that's 2 cups of buckwheat. Then let's make sure we can get another 2 cups out of here. That was like exactly 4 cups of the buckwheat. Let me get all our little seeds here. Buckwheat is actually not wheat at all. It's like a seed. And in my last video, Sprouting 101, I talked about why we sprout the seeds. Sprouting helps to make their nutrition a little more bioavailable for us. We got the buckwheat in here, 2.5 cups of halved cherry tomatoes. I could actually do a few more. Oops. Cool water. One of these days, I'm gonna have a better setup, but for now, just doing the best I can with what I got in these early stages. I found that it's just more important to like get it done, because if you could find, I know I could find a reason to procrastinate forever, and I just had to get out of my own way and stop procrastinating on these videos and my desire to be in this social, I call it life 2.0 space. I'm sure you'll learn more about me and my story and all that's going on with me, because one thing that happens in the kitchen, I find that we do a lot of talking in the kitchen. You know, I've always grown up with women who gather in the kitchen, and that's where you learn a lot, we share a lot, you know, we heal and we grow together in the kitchen. So that's why I love being in the kitchen. You always going to tend to find me in the kitchen. Even now as an empty nester, even now that my children are grown and gone and it's just me right now. And I don't eat a lot, so it's really not a whole lot of reason for me to be in the kitchen all the time preparing food like I used to. I still find a lot of joy in being in the kitchen, so I'm happy to be able to share these things socially in the way that I am now. So we're going to go ahead and add, hopefully this is about 2.5 cups of the cherry tomatoes. We're going to go ahead and add those to the food processor. I had this food processor for a cool minute before I actually started using it, just because it was different and I felt like it was kind of intimidating. But now I actually like it. Like when you're working with the food processor, you can really kind of just pour everything in here and the machine does the work. So as far as mixing everything, so it really helps to save time and energy there. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna add the 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That is 1. And woo, there's 2. 2 teaspoons of agave. A little touch of sweetness is always nice. Hey guys. Hey guys. My goldfish are checking me out. All right, that's our timer for our sun-dried tomatoes. So those should be ready for us. So 2 healthy teaspoons of dried basil. 2. A little extra pinch. One thing about me, I'm always put a little extra on it. A little clove of garlic. Basically, I'm gonna just press it into the counter with the flat side of the knife like that and bust it open to get the skin off. That makes it come out of its skin nice and easy. So I can easily just drop that in there. 1 teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt, which just happen to have some from Morton's, but it is pink Himalayan salt. So now we definitely, I know my son likes to watch his salt intake, so we're not gonna go heavy on the salt. Definitely gonna make sure that's leveled out, not too heavy on the salt. Half cup of ground flax meal. Yeah, hopefully, I'm so excited. I hope these pizza crackers turn out as lovely as I think they will. It smells great. The tomatoes, all the spices, they come together really well. Very fragrant. I love that. That's one thing about working with living foods. Your kitchen smells so good. It smells so fragrant when you're working with, the living spices and things like that, fruits, and oh, I love that. So we don't want to go, but I might need it because I did put a little extra tomato. So there's our half cup of ground flax meal, the ground flax seeds. So we're gonna drain the water off of these. Ooh, I need my little tomato. And we'll just pop those in there. That's one thing about working with living foods as well. Cleanup is usually so easy. I love how everything is so like water soluble. So you never really find yourself having to bring like harsh chemicals or anything like that into your kitchen. It's so awesome. So we got all our ingredients. We're gonna put it in the food processor, lock it in place, and then we have to, all right, lock it in place. Power on. So I like to start with just a little pulsing action. And then we'll do a now that will kind of stop on its own after a few minutes, but I kind of just want to get it down off the sides here. So you see how some of the seeds and things are separated. I like to make sure to get it down in there, get everything down so it gets mixed up thoroughly. And then we'll give it another go. Let's see what we got here. Is it looking good? Yeah. A little doughy. I'm thinking I want to give it another go round. We're going to be done with this top. Okay, get that out the way. I remember I once started a baking business in my studio apartment, my urban studio apartment. I started a micro baking business. So I've done a lot with like a little bit. So at this stage in my life, I really appreciate my kitchen here. I have enough space to kind of do all the things that I want to do. All right, now comes the fun part of like actually getting this blade out. That is like not one of my favorite parts. So let's see how that works. Relatively easy. No big schmiggy. So it's much harder to get this blade out when the whole pitcher is full. Other than like right now, it's just half full. So it came out nice and easy. Make sure we get all of our food. I don't like to waste a whole lot. I'm a recovering, the way I was raised, I guess. I don't like wasting food. I'm mindful. I don't like to be wasteful, but I am mindful. So I don't, I don't eat things just because I don't want to waste it like I used to in the past. I don't do that anymore, but I am mindful not to be wasteful, not to just create unnecessary waste. All right, so this is our batter. This picture is heavy. Perfect. It fit lovely in my measuring cup here. Awesome.